My beloved child, incline your ear and still your heart before me. There are moments when the history of a soul touches the rhythm of eternal time, moments when the windows of heaven open and an invisible trumpet sounds heard not by human ears, but by hearts attuned to recognize it. Now is such a moment. I call your name amid 1,000 voices, for a boundary has appeared, not a line drawn on the earth, but the line between apathy and awakening, between delay and obedience, between the old cycle and the new road of glory. Do not ask when, for even in this very breath, the appointed time has come, and when the moment arrives, hesitation itself becomes a kind of darkness. It does not dim the light because the light has faded, but because the heart has closed. I have come to open your heart. You say I'm not ready. I say readiness does not rise from personal strength, but from imparted grace. Look at the seed hidden in the soil. It does not wait for perfect sunlight to break open. It breaks open in order to reach the light. So it is with you. I do not demand what you lack. I ask for the one thing you can offer, your yes. When you say yes, I do the rest. I do not rely on human storehouses. I draw from my own treasury to equip you with wisdom beyond reason, courage that transcends fear, and peace that defies circumstance. As Micah 7:8 declares, though I fall, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. That word is not an ancient memory. It is a living instrument. Receive it. You are disoriented by flickering signs around you, opportunities advancing, then retreating relationships, closing suddenly doors once sure, now silent as stone. You call it failure, but I am redrawing the map. Sometimes I do not untangle the knots. I cut the cord not to make you lose, but to free you from an anchor that has rusted. You called it loss of direction. I call it divine redirection. Admit with me that the old maps no longer serve, and let me place in your hand a new compass, one that always points to my presence. When my compass guides you, you will no longer walk by habit, but by the breath of my spirit. You feel invisible forces pulling offers that seem easy, subtle comparisons, worries disguised as reasonable concerns. They are not always loud. Sometimes they come like a cool mist that lulls the mind to sleep. I reveal this to you. Anything that dulls your sensitivity to my voice, no matter how harmless it appears, is a thread binding your feet before takeoff. I do not come to condemn, I come to untie. But I untie only when you place the thread in my hands. You long to fly, yet your hands still cling to old baggage labels, others placed on you titles. You assigned yourself expectations I never wrote. Lay them down. Imagine empty hands and listen to the gentle sound of things unworthy falling away. That is the overture of a new journey. I will tell you a secret not to hide, but to set you free. The true battlefield is not outside. The doors, the steps, the walls you see are but scenery. The true battle lies within, where will meets grace, where the heart chooses trust over control. You want to see the sea part before you. I want to open the waters within you so you may cross before the surface shifts. When my peace abides in you, the world may shake, but you will not be moved. When your faith becomes a deep anchor, storms may still come, but your role changes from one swept away to one who cuts through the waves. Remember Esther standing in her appointed hour. She had no sword, only surrender and courage to step where none were allowed. The golden gates opened not because of her power, but because I placed heavenly weight on each of her steps. You too will have your own throne room, perhaps a difficult conversation, a decision that seems small, yet determines the long road, or a quiet act that tilts the course of what I am doing through you. Step in. I will go before you. I will weave your words with another's need, so that an invisible thread binds a soul to truth. You think you need more proof, yet your delay waiting for confirmation is itself the evidence that you are still relying on old sight. What I give you is a different kind of seeing vision that opens from within, seeing city gates fall before they crumble, hearing Jericho's walls crack before the seventh trumpet, smelling rain-soaked meadows while the desert still cracks, dry. This is not wishful hope. It is future memory, a remembrance I placed within you, that you might recall what has not yet happened as if it already has, for I am the one who speaks and brings it to pass. You call it promise, I call it sealed blueprint. You say the noise wears me down. I say learn again the discipline of silence, not the silence of exhaustion, but the stillness of awareness. When you choose to turn off the noise, you are not losing control. You are reclaiming focus. Let the first minutes of each day become a small altar, a sigh offered to me, a whisper of gratitude, a verse of scripture like an arrow piercing the fog of distraction. Just a few moments, but steady ones. For if mist can gather to form a veil, then steady light can gather to form a dawn. And when dawn rises, the shadows that once threatened will quietly shrink away. My beloved child, I see the weariness in your steps, sometimes hidden beneath a practiced smile. I am not surprised, nor do I condemn. I have come to make an exchange. You give me your heaviness, and I will give you ease. You give me your wounds, and I will give you healing. You give me your confusion, and I will bring gentle order. Not once and for all, but as a rhythm of life, a rhythm of giving and receiving. Do not let the thought I must be strong make you refuse my upholding. True strength is not straining, but leaning. A vine branch is strong not because it weaves its own roots, but because it abides in the vine. My child, reconsider the prerequisites you have set for your future. When I have, when I am, when others, then I will obey. Those phrases sound wise, but they are locked gates. I call you now not when you think you are worthy. My grace does not wait for a perfect resume. Grace writes a perfect story out of imperfect drafts. Let me keep writing. Hand me the pen your daily power of choice, and agree with the pace I set. Swift when needed, slow when it must be slow, still when it's time to pause and change your shoes for a longer road ahead. You ask, what sign will show I am on the right path? I answer, first, peace that reason cannot kindle. Next, a fire within for what is good burning in your bones. And then faithfulness in small things that becomes sweet as honey instead of bitter as duty. When these three speak in unison, know you are walking in my rhythm. Do not chase flashing signs for confirmation. Look for the steady flame that warms the pot of daily life. I often come as morning dew, not as storm, but it is dew that nourishes the meadow. Remember Peter stepping out of the boat. That boat was not evil. It was safe, familiar, proven through many nights of fishing. Yet one word called him beyond the known, and the water, unable to hold any man, became a stage of grace beneath the feet of one who dared to believe. You are not called to recklessness. You are called to obedience to the voice that has rescued you from the edge many times before. If I say come, then come. If I say stand, then stand. If I say cast your net on the right side, then cast it where I show you. Obedience is not decoration for faith. It is its very shape. Finally, my child, hear this. I am not inviting you merely out of a situation. I am inviting you into an identity. You are not a temporary fixer. You are a gatekeeper of light for every place I step into through your life. You carry the fragrance of the kingdom to your family table, to the meeting room, to the sidewalk where you pause to comfort a stranger. I will use your words as salt, your habits as yeast, your presence as a lamp on the desk of weary minds. Then you will understand, calling is not somewhere far away. It blooms right where you stand when you walk with me. Begin with one small yes, and watch how it releases a chain of greater yeses along the road ahead. Rise now, brush the dust from your feet, loosen the invisible knots and step across the line. I am here before you and behind you, to your right and to your left above, as a covering cloud beneath, as the solid rock. You are not alone. Place your hand in mine, the rest I will do. My beloved, when I say that things are happening beyond your sight, it is not a metaphor. Between the world you see and the one you cannot yet see lies a boundary thin as breath. Their prayers rise like incense. Their angels with shining swords stand guard. There the will of heaven meets the resistance of darkness. There are moments when your weariness is not of body but of soul stretched in battle that is proof that a war is raging. You are not imagining. You are hearing the echo of a real conflict, one that exists because of you. Do not fear. I have not allowed the darkness to rise to destroy you, but to refine you. The enemy of your soul has seen the light growing within you, and he knows that if you stand firm, you will become a vessel that makes him tremble. So he tries to steal your focus before the light can fully blaze. He uses everyday worries like silken cords to bind your will, whispering that you must take control, that my promises are comforting words but far from reality. He knows that if he can make you doubt, he doesn't need to strike, because doubt itself will make you stop moving. I have come to teach you a new strategy. Do not fight darkness with fear, but with light. When your eyes are fixed on me, the light within you makes the darkness retreat. When you choose faith over confusion, invisible schemes collapse. When you lift a song of praise in the night, the prisons of the mind begin to crack. Remember Paul and Silas. They were chained in the deepest cell, yet they sang. Their song not only broke the chains, it split the heavens open. The power of praise does not lie in volume, but in conviction that I am worthy to be exalted even when circumstances say otherwise. When you praise in the midst of trial, you declare that your faith is greater than fear. When you pray in the storm, you mark my territory in the middle of the battlefield. That is what terrifies the enemy. He cannot comprehend how a soul pressed to the corner can still sing, can still say, I believe. That is a fire he cannot extinguish, for it is not kindled by earthly wood but by the breath of the divine. You ask, how can I keep my light amid all the noise? Return to the source. Light does not sustain itself by effort but by connection. As a lamp burns only while oil remains, your soul burns bright only when it abides in me. Do not search for energy within yourself. Seek it in my spirit, for he is the breath that keeps your flame alive. When you feel your heart grow cold, do not condemn yourself. Do not strive to rekindle it by force. Come to me. Sit still. Let my breath blow gently upon the ashes, and you will see the embers will glow again. My beloved child, there are things you think you must resist, yet I only ask you to surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is the recognition that my power is greater than your struggle. To surrender is to lay down your sword so that you may receive the real one. When you stop fighting to defend yourself, I begin to fight on your behalf. Just as in the days of Jehoshaphat, Israel did not win by spear or sword, but by a song, Praise the Lord, for his mercy endures forever. That song was a weapon, and I went before them, scattering their enemies in confusion. My child, there are days when your mind feels like a battlefield. One voice tells you not to believe, another urges you to stand firm. Memories of the past and fears of the future crowd in at once. But I say to you, focus on the present. This moment is where I dwell. The past has been redeemed. The future has been secured. Only this breath is where you can truly meet me. Inhale and know that I am the God of now. When Moses asked for my name, I did not say I was, nor I will be, but I am. Therefore, you do not have to chase me into tomorrow. I am here in the breath you just took. You have wondered why your prayers sometimes seem to bounce off the ceiling. But my child, none of them are lost. Not one falls to the ground. Every prayer you have whispered is recorded, and above a golden bowl filled with that fragrance is slowly tilted toward its appointed moment. When the time comes, it will pour out not just upon you, but upon those connected to you. That is why I teach perseverance. Delay is not denial. It is the steeping of fragrance, so that when the bowl tips, the aroma spreads far and wide. I know you have felt disappointment. You have waited for what I promised, yet nothing seemed to move. You have looked around and seen others receive while you still stood still. You whispered, "Perhaps I have been forgotten, but my child, no prayer is wasted." A great bridge cannot be built in a day. Some miracles require deep foundations hidden beneath the earth. If you could see how each stone is laid, you would understand that waiting is not the postponement of the miracle. It is part of the miracle itself. When I work in silence, it is because I am building the part you cannot see. Like Joseph in the prison who seemed forsaken but was being trained for a throne, you too are in a season of refinement. Do not despise the dark place. It is where the seed learns to root. A seed that germinates in light will not endure long, but one that roots in darkness will stand firm when the heat comes. You are not being confined, you are being cultivated. I see the times you scold yourself. If only I were stronger, if only I had not doubted. But I tell you, only when you acknowledge your weakness can my strength be made complete. My grace has never ceased flowing, and my power is perfected in frailty. Remember what I told Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. When you tremble yet keep walking, that is true faith. When you pray with no emotion left, that is true faithfulness. When you move forward without seeing, that is true worship. Faith is not a burst of emotion, it is quiet endurance. Like a ship sailing through night unseen sun, above yet guided by the compass. My word is your compass. When the winds change and the waves rise, keep your heading. Do not search for another light, for no flame burns steadier than the one I've placed in your hand. Though storms crash and night drags on, that light will guide you safely home. My beloved child, remember this. There is no battle in which I am absent. Each time you pray, I command angels. Each time you forgive, I withdraw the enemy's right to accuse. Each time you choose love over bitterness, I open a new pathway for blessing to flow. You are never powerless, you simply must wield the right weapon. And that weapon is not steel, but words and attitudes soaked in my love. I know this defies reason, but true faith always surpasses understanding. When you walk in faith, you walk on water impossible to men, but natural in the sight of heaven. When you dare to step even the laws of nature, bow before grace. Keep walking, my child. When your first foot touches the waves, the water will harden beneath the second. This is the law of my kingdom. Miracles appear only when faith moves. You do not need to be extraordinary for me to act. You only need to obey. I will handle the rest, the part only I can do. I will turn fear into peace, ashes into beauty, burdens into testimonies. I will turn even your mistakes into stairways leading you closer to me. For whatever I touch, I redeem for good. So do not fix your eyes on the wars outside. The real battle is keeping your heart soft before me. As long as your heart remains tender, I can shape it right upon it and carve eternal patterns within it. But if you let it harden, I still love you, but my hand will wait until the stone breaks. For my love never forces, it invites. Stand firm, warrior of light. Remember, not every storm comes to destroy. Some storms come to strip away what no longer belongs to you. When the storm passes, you will see that what you thought was lost was freedom. And when you look back, you will recognize I was in every gust of wind, every drop of rain, every flash of lightning, proving that my love does not retreat even through fire and flood. My beloved, I am not only calling you out of the storm, I am inviting you into a season of restoration where what was lost is rebuilt in the light of grace. I do not simply want to heal your wounds. I want to turn those very scars into testimonies of my love. Everything you have endured, sweet or bitter, holds value in my hands. In my kingdom, no pain is wasted, no tears uncounted. You think you have gone too far, that the road back has closed. But remember, I am the God who makes a way where there is none. As I led my people through the Red Sea, so will I lead you through the depths of your own soul. I am not calling you only to come out, but to rise up to higher ground where my light envelops your whole being. Everything you once feared will become a lesson in my protection. Everything you thought you lost will become the foundation for something unshakable. And when you stand on that higher place, you will see every trial was not your undoing, but your unveiling. For through it all I was forming in you the reflection of my glory. Sometimes, my child, you ask me, why didn't you stop the storm from the beginning? But my beloved, if I had done that, you would never have discovered how strong you were made to be. Like Job, you must walk through the furnace to see if your heart can hold on to faith. Like Joseph, you must be lowered into the pit to learn to trust, even when wronged. And like David, you must face your own Goliath to realize that victory is not in the size of the sword, but in the heart that knows I am with you. I never promised that you would never weep, but I did promise that not a single tear of yours would be wasted. I never promised that you would always understand everything, but I promised that all things work together for your good. When you cannot see my hand, trust my heart. For I have never stopped working, not even in the long nights that seem silent. There are things I must allow to fall apart, not to hurt you, but to rebuild on a stronger foundation. You trusted in people and they failed you. You relied on possessions and they faded. You leaned on your own strength and it ran dry. But that is the very moment I step in. When every other support collapses, you finally see that I am the rock that never moves. When every other voice grows silent, you can finally hear mine clearly. And when you think the story has ended, it is only the first chapter of the new one I am writing. Do not fear, starting over. I do not need your perfection to begin, only your sincerity to return. I will use the ashes of the old to paint a new dawn. I will turn your barren field into a blooming garden. Give me your broken pieces, I am not afraid of ruins, for in my hands what is broken becomes glorious. Micah 7:8 says, "Though I have fallen, I will rise. You may stumble, but I will not allow you to stay down. I have placed within you a seed of life that no darkness can extinguish. Even if the winter feels long, that seed is quietly growing beneath the frost. And when the appointed time comes, it will burst forth strong and unstoppable. My child, be patient in the hidden season. Do not mistake my silence for absence. When you cannot hear my voice, it may be because I am writing something in invisible ink words that can only be read when the light shines upon them. I have seen you bow your head in despair, but I have also seen the spark that flickers each time you choose to believe again. Every tear has become a seed sown into the field of grace. One day you will reap a harvest of joy, and the very place that once held your deepest pain will bloom with your most beautiful testimony. Do not judge your journey by a single chapter. Do not call this season a failure, for I am still writing the next part. When I say rise up, it is not merely encouragement, it is a command of restoration. You were never meant to live in guilt or shame. I have washed you clean with the blood of the Lamb. You are called redeemed, justified, and chosen. You are no longer a victim. You are a witness of my power. Do not let your past speak louder than I do. Let my voice be the final word over your life. I know you once believed the wrong things and placed your heart in unworthy hands, but I have not come to condemn. I have come to restore. Just as Jesus stooped to write on the ground when the woman caught in sin was surrounded by accusers, I too bend down into your life to rewrite the verdict with mercy. No one can condemn you, for I have borne every punishment. You no longer need to hide from me. Come closer and you will see. My eyes do not search for faults, they search for you. Remember, restoration is not merely about healing, it is about renewal. I do not simply fix what is broken, I make all things new. I do not just rebuild the fallen house, I replace its foundation. When I restore, I do not take you back to where you were, I take you to where you would have been had you never gone astray. So do not fear lost time. I can redeem the years that were devoured. Just as I declared through Joel, I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. Time cannot be recovered, but I can redeem it. You will see the doors that once closed begin to open, not because you knock harder, but because you now knock at the right time and in the right spirit. You will see old dreams revived, but in a purified form, no longer tainted by selfish desire, but fragrant with divine purpose. You will see those who left replaced by those who carry blessings to you, and you will realize what you lost was never meant to leave you empty, but to make room for what I am about to give. When I restore you, I do not only work for you, I work through you. You will become a comforter to the brokenhearted, a strength to the weary, a light to places still dark. It is your own wounds that will teach you how to touch the pain of others with tenderness. It is your own journey that will shape you into a vessel fit for my work. Believe that in every pain I am writing a new chapter of grace. Believe that in every collapse I am building a stronger foundation. Believe that in every tear a seed of hope is being planted. Believe that I am with you and that nothing can separate you from my love. I am the God of restoration, and I say to you, live again, my child. Rise from the ashes, for a new season has come. The Son of Righteousness is rising with healing in his wings. Open your hands, open your heart, and let me place within them what you have prayed for, not in the form you expected, but in the better form I have prepared. My beloved, when you step out of this trial, I do not merely want you to survive, I want you to move in rhythm with my will. For the deepest mystery of the soul's journey is not in how much you do, but in how closely your heart beats with mine. I am not searching for busy hands without direction. I am looking for hearts that listen, because in that sacred harmony, miracles cease to be rare, they become the rhythm of every breath. There are moments when you ask, how can I know your will amidst all the voices within me? My child, my will is never confusing, but the human heart is easily crowded. When your heart is pulled by fear, by ambition, by the need for approval, then even when I speak, my voice may sound distant. Yet when you become still like Elijah in the cave, you will realize that I am not in the strong wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in the gentle whisper. Learn to discern that voice not with your ears, but with your spirit. You see, my will is not merely a set of instructions, it is a living flow. When you walk with me, you don't need to see the whole map, only the next step. For I am the lamp to your feet, not the sun that lights the entire road. I give you just enough light to trust, just enough light to move. Faith does not bloom in full visibility. It sprouts in the mist of uncertainty, and it is within that mist that you learn the rhythm of trust. Many seek my will, but when I speak, they only want me to confirm what they have already decided. They want me to bless their plans instead of asking for my plan. But you, my child, I am calling you to a higher place, where you no longer ask, what do you want me to do, but rather, what do you want to do through me? There you cease to be the master and become the vessel through which the living water flows. There you no longer need to prove anything, for it is I who work through you. My will never contradicts your true joy. I do not place burdens to measure loyalty. I invite you into the rhythm of freedom. When your heart is aligned with mine, what I desire and what you desire no longer conflict. You will begin to long for what I long for, love what I love, and despise what I despise. Then your prayers will no longer try to change my will. They will flow in harmony with it. And when two wills become one, your prayers carry creative power, for they emerge from the very center of heaven's intention. Remember what I spoke to Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Yet not my will, but yours be done. That was not an act of resignation. It was the summit of unity. In that moment, humanity and divinity met the will of earth, dissolved into the will of heaven, and history was rewritten. My child, if you learn the sacred art of saying yes, you will open doors that no one else can. Many think obedience means losing freedom, but in truth, obedience is returning to your original freedom, the freedom to function in perfect harmony with me. A bird is not forced to fly. It flies because it was created to. Likewise, when you walk in my will, you are not constrained. You are liberated to be who you truly are. For my will is not a chain. It is the wind beneath your wings. I do not want you to become a follower of rules, but a companion of relationship. Do not think of me only as a lawgiver. Know me as your father, your friend, your very breath. When you begin to live with the awareness of my presence, you will no longer divide life into sacred and ordinary. Washing dishes can become worship if you do it with awareness of me. Helping another in humility can become praise if you see me in them. For my will is not confined to temples, it flows through every corner of your life. My will is a process, not a fixed weight. I do not ask you to know everything from the start. I lead you step by step. Like Abraham, who heard only go from your country and your father's house without knowing the destination. Yet through that journey the promise unfolded. You do not need a map because you have the guide. When you hold my hand, you are on the right path, even when you do not know where it leads. If something you call God's will causes you to lose compassion or peace, then know it is not from me. My will never breeds hatred, never produces pride. It always carries the fragrance of humility, peace, and life. Let peace be your compass. If your heart is at rest even in the midst of storms, that is the sign you are walking in the right way. Do you know, my child, that when you begin to live in unity with me, every area of your life aligns: your time, your work, your relationships, even your dreams. What once felt tangled begins to clear. You will be surprised to find that I do not add more burdens. I simply remove what you never needed. That simplification is the secret of rest. My will is not a destination, but a way of living. You do not find it once and then stop. You live in it daily. When the sun rises, ask, Lord, who do you want to love through me today? And when night falls, say, thank you for what you did through me today. This is the rhythm of walking with me, not loud or dramatic, but steady and deep, like an underground stream that keeps the field green though unseen. So I say to you, make conversation with me your habit. Do not let me be the place you run to, only in crisis, but the companion you walk with all day long. When you move, speak to me. When you work, let me look through your eyes. When you grow weary, breathe in me. Then my will no longer be a mystery. It will become your heartbeat. And you will realize what I desire is not far away. It has always been within you, simply waiting to be heard, believed, and lived. My child, the world around you is filled with noise and definitions. People say that success is power, position, and influence. But in my kingdom, success is union with the Father's will. When your heart beats in rhythm with mine, the world may misunderstand you, but heaven recognizes you. When you choose obedience over argument, you shake the realm of the Spirit. When you stay silent in the face of insult, you break invisible chains of the enemy. True power always flows from deep surrender. Let me teach you the art of walking by breath. You do not need to rush, nor should you lag behind. Keep step with the rhythm of grace. When I stop, you stop. When I move, you move. When I speak, you listen. When I am silent, you remain. That harmony will turn your life into a living song, one that needs no amplification, no display, only authenticity and love. Remember, union with me is not the reward of the perfect, but the privilege of the surrendered. You have nothing to prove, you only need to remain. Abide in me as the branch abides in the vine. When you remain, you will bear fruit not by striving, but by the flow of life itself. Then every breath you take becomes a prayer, every action becomes praise, and your whole existence becomes a symphony of heaven and earth moving as one. Beloved child, surrender is not weakness. It is the art of true strength, the strength born when you allow me to take control. In the world, power means control. In my kingdom, power means trust. Only when you release the wheel can I steer you through the deep waters you cannot cross alone. Often, what blocks your miracle is not lack of faith, but too much calculation. I need you to stop worrying so I can start working. Surrender is not a moment, it is a journey. Just as a river cannot stop at a bend, if it wants to reach the sea, you must keep releasing part after part of your life so that grace can continue to flow. At first, you release what is easy, a habit, a worry, an old dream. But as you go further, I will ask for deeper things, reputation, self-will, control. Not because I want to take, but because I want to give, and I can only fill an empty vessel. Remember Abraham. When I asked him to offer Isaac, it was not because I needed a sacrifice, but because I wanted to remove from his heart the one thing that could limit the blessing. If Abraham had not lifted the knife, he would never have known me as Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. Likewise, my child, there are things you hold tightly that I long to exchange for something far greater. But I cannot give until your hands are open. I know surrender sounds frightening, for it asks you to step into the unknown. But beloved, I have never called anyone forward without going before them. When I told Peter to walk on water, I was already there. When I told Moses to stretch out his staff, I was the one parting the sea. And when I call you to move, I do not stand at a distance, I walk beside you. Wherever I send you, my grace has already arrived. Surrender is not loss, it is a divine exchange. You give me your limits, and I give you my endlessness. You let go of what you think you need, and I give you what you truly need. You release small dreams, and I give you vision. Like a seed that must fall into the soil before it multiplies, your dream must also fall into the ground of faith to live again. The seed buried is not dead, it is transforming. And so will your dream. I see you saying, I've given everything, yet holding back one small corner, the one you fear to lose, the one you're not sure I will care for. My child, let me touch even that corner. Where I am not invited, darkness remains. But when you open the door, light floods in. And when the light comes, the things you feared will melt away like mist. Surrender is not an act. It is the posture of the soul. It is not bowing in defeat, but lifting your head in trust. When you say your will be done, you are not lowering yourself as a loser, but stepping into the role of the chosen one through whom heaven can act. In surrender, you do not lose your identity. You return to your true design, a soul reflecting heaven's will upon the earth. There are souls who ask me to bless them, but I can only do so once they have learned to surrender. For blessing cannot rest on what is misaligned. If I pour oil into a cracked vessel, it will leak. So I must mend the vessel first, sometimes with fire, sometimes with tears, sometimes with silence, so that when the oil comes, it will be preserved. Remember Naaman, the Syrian commander, who scoffed when Elisha told him to bathe 7 times in Jordan. He expected the miracle to come in grandeur, but I chose humility. Only when he humbled himself in the water was his body made whole. Surrender works the same way. It is the river that flows against pride, but cleanses everything that separates you from blessing. I know you still wonder, what will happen if I surrender? And I tell you, what will happen is me. When you let me move, the first thing that changes is not your circumstance, but you. Your eyes change, your perspective shifts, your spirit's frequency rises to match heaven's, and when you change, the world around you adjusts. The true miracle is not only water turning to wine, but hearts turning their inner water into the wine of faith. Sometimes you fear surrender because you think I will take away what you love. But I have never taken from those who love me anything. I did not intend to replace with something better. Look at Job, he lost everything, yet I restored him double. Look at Joseph, sold as a slave, yet I made him a savior. Look at my son, he gave his life, and I gave him the name, above every name. In my kingdom, every loss for my sake is repaid in abundance. Surrender does not destroy the self, it frees the soul. You will find yourself lighter, calmer, and strangely stronger than ever, because you no longer carry the burden of control. When you stop striving, my power begins to flow. When you stop calculating, miracles begin to move. This is the paradox of heaven. Those who lose gain, those who release receive, those who die to self live for glory. My child, I am calling you deeper into the waters of surrender. The river is cool but deep. At first it touches your ankles, then your knees, your waist, until you must swim. But it is in the swimming that you stop steering and let the current carry you. That current is my spirit, the one who knows every twist and turn you cannot see. If you stay at the edge, you will only hear the trickling sound. But when you dive in, you will hear the waters rushing within you, the sound of life itself. Surrender does not mean silence before injustice. It is courageous obedience to the divine will, even when it defies human logic. When I told Moses to face Pharaoh, that was surrender. When I told Jeremiah to prophesy from prison, that was surrender. When I told Mary to receive the angel's word, that was surrender. They all trembled, but they believed, and that faith reshaped history. So too, my beloved, I am writing a new story through your life, one that begins the moment you say, "Let your will be done." Do not let delay make you doubt. Sometimes my silence is not distance, but an invitation to see if you can still believe without evidence. It is not a test of worthiness, but a call to trust. For true faith does not need proof to exist. It is the very proof of what is unseen. When you surrender, you will see that I redefine victory. It no longer means getting what you want, but becoming who I desire you to be. It is no longer about conquering others, but conquering yourself. It is no longer about holding on, but learning to let go. That is true kingship, the power of a free soul. Surrender is not the path of the weak. It is the great highway of those strong in the spirit. It is not easy, but it is safe. It is not short, but it sure is. And when you have walked far enough, you will look back and realize that every moment you thought was lost was actually drawing you closer to me. So today, release what you cannot control. Place it in my hands and say, "Lord, I don't understand, but I trust you." I will receive that whisper as the first seed of a new harvest. The river of surrender will carry you not into loss, but into alignment with where I have destined you to be. And there, my child, you will find the harbor of peace, where faith becomes life, and you and I move as one breath in the sacred rhythm of heaven. Beloved, when you have learned to surrender and let me lead, you will no longer merely follow. You will become a vessel through which heaven flows. You will not only live in grace, you will become its channel. You will no longer chase miracles, you will carry them. For when you are in me and I am in you, every breath, every word, every action will carry the fragrance of heaven, soothing the thirst of a weary world. You will discover something wondrous. I do not only act for you, I act through you. When you love someone, it is I loving them through your heart. When you forgive, it is I breaking the chains of hatred. When you lift your hands to pray for another, it is I touching them through you. You do not need to shout or strive. Simply be, for I am there. Your presence, soaked in my presence, will carry power that needs no display. Let me reveal to you the secret of those used by heaven. They never strive to be extraordinary. They simply choose to be pure. A river does not struggle to flow. It only needs to remain unblocked. Likewise, you need not force yourself to do great things for God. You only need to clear the stream within from bitterness, pride, hurt, or judgment, so that the living water may flow freely. When your heart is open, I will flow without resistance, and wherever I flow, life will bloom. Look at the vine and its branches. The branch does not produce fruit by effort. It bears fruit because the life of the vine flows through it. You do not need to try to bear fruit. You only need to remain in me. When you remain, fruit will come naturally, not to boast, but to nourish others. Those who come near you will feel peace even if you say nothing. They will see light in your eyes and wonder how you remain calm amid the world's chaos. It is because you have become a reflection of heaven itself. You once thought changing the world required power or fame. But my child, true transformation happens in the quiet renewal of the soul. When one person changes, the atmosphere around them shifts. When one heart becomes pure, the very air they breathe becomes clean. You do not need a platform. You only need a pure heart, for light does not need promotion, it only needs to shine. My beloved, when you become my vessel, you will learn what it means to love as I love. Not loving to be loved back, but loving because love is your very nature. I do not love because people deserve it. I love because I am love. And when you abide in me, you too will love like this. That love will make you see others not by their flaws, but by the potential I placed within them. You will speak words that give life, not death. You will see promise in the rejected and light in the lost. And my child, that will bring me great joy. I will use you as a hidden river in a barren desert. You will not be loud, but you will bring renewal to places thought lifeless. One word of comfort from you may rescue a broken soul. One quiet act of kindness may open the door of hope for an entire life. Never underestimate what seems small when done in love. In my hands, the small becomes great, and the silent resounds through eternity. Do not think you must be perfect to be used by me. I have never chosen the perfect. I have chosen the willing. I chose Moses, who stammered, Gideon, who feared, David, the shepherd boy, and Mary, the unknown maiden. What made them great was not their ability, but their availability, their willingness to let me write my story through their lives. And if you too are willing, heaven will write its next chapter through you. When you become my flowing stream, you will act not out of duty, but out of love. You will no longer pray because you must, but because you miss me. You will no longer forgive because you should, but because you long to be free. You will no longer give because it is expected, but because you know all things are mine. When love becomes your motive, obedience becomes joy, and surrender becomes instinct. That is the sign that you have truly merged into the divine current, where your heart and mind beat as one. Do not fear being forgotten. The things you do in silence are the very things I see most clearly. The world applauds noise, but heaven records the echoes of the heart. Every time you help someone without seeking recognition, the angels take note. Every time you choose gentleness when you have the power to retaliate, heaven rejoices. Every time you love without being loved in return, your light pierces the darkness. My child, those moments are never lost. They touch my heart and shake the heavens. I will teach you to live in the flow of my spirit. You will no longer struggle between should I or should I not, for the current itself will guide you. You will know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait. This wisdom does not come from books, but from deep communion. Just as a fish does not need to be taught how to swim, for the water is its home, so you, when you live in me, will know how to live. Remember, my river does not flow through closed channels. If your heart is clogged with bitterness, fear, or pride, the water cannot move. That is why I keep calling you to release, not to take joy away, but to make room for life. Let my love wash away what clouds your heart so that the water runs clear. When the heart is pure, the river is pure. When the soul is clean, I can reflect my face upon its surface. Do you remember the river in Ezekiel's vision? The water flowed from the temple. The farther it went, the deeper it became, and wherever that water flowed, life appeared. My child, you are that river. When you carry me with you, every place you touch will bloom. Your family, your work, your community, all will be refreshed by the flow of heaven through you. And you will see what I do through you changes not only the world outside, but also the world within. When you become the current of my will, You no longer need to prove anything. Your presence will speak for itself. Others will see me in the way you live, the way you love, the way you wait, and the way you forgive. They may not call my name, but they will feel my warmth. That is the highest calling, that through your life others may encounter me, even if they do not know who I am. My beloved, know this. Every day you walk in my will, a new covenant is written between heaven and earth. You are not merely existing. You are bridging the two realms with every quiet act of faith. When you walk in trust, I am glorified. When you love, I am exalted. When you forgive, I am revealed. And when you live this way, heaven smiles. Therefore, do not ask, "What must I do for God?" Ask instead, "What can I let God do through me?" Be like the wind, gentle yet powerful, like the water, soft yet unyielding, like the light, silent yet impossible to extinguish. When you become such a one, you step fully into the role I designed for you, the bearer of heaven's breath in a weary world. And I say to you, go. Let my love flow from you like a river that never stops. Do not hold back, do not hesitate. For you do not only carry my name, you carry my nature. And when you live this way, all will see that there is a God who still lives, still loves, and still moves through those who are one with him. My beloved, there are seasons when I allow the fire to come near, not to destroy you, but to awaken what has slept within your soul. My fire is not like the fire of the world. It does not come to consume, but to refine. As a goldsmith lights the flame, not because he despises gold, but because he cherishes its purity, so I do with you. I set you near the fire not to hurt you, but because I see something precious that must shine. You once prayed, "Lord, use me for your glory." And my child, that is the kind of prayer heaven always answers, but few realize that before I use, I must purify. No soldier is sent to battle untested, and no golden vessel can hold oil until its impurities are removed. You desire light, but light cannot radiate from what has never burned. Fire does not only test faith, fire shapes it. Do not fear the fire. When I permit its flames, it means you are about to rise. Every new level of calling begins with fire. As Moses met me in the burning bush, as Isaiah's lips were touched by a burning coal, as the disciples were filled with the Spirit through tongues of fire. Fire always precedes my presence. Without fire there is no sanctification. Without trial, no glory. Faith is proven only when it passes through the fire and remains unchanged in form. Do not measure your strength on easy days. Measure it in the nights of trial. When everything collapses and yet peace remains, that is faith. When tears fall and your lips still whisper, praise the Lord, that is faith. When you see nothing yet still walk forward, that is faith, the kind that no longer needs to see to believe, but believes to see. At times I may seem hidden, not because I have left, but to reveal whether you love me for the blessings or for me. When the blessings fade, will your heart still cling to me? When your prayers seem unanswered, will you still pray? When darkness covers, will you still believe the light exists? These questions are not for me to learn the answer I already know, but for you to know yourself. Fire does not change gold. It only reveals its true nature. You ask, why do the trials keep coming? I say, because I am forging your soul into an instrument that carries fire, not one consumed by it. Just as iron must endure thousands of degrees to become a sword, so your spirit must endure the heat of suffering to bear lasting power. A sword's worth is proven in the forge. Faith's strength is proven in the storm. Remember, my child, the fire does not drive you away from me, it draws you closer. When everything else melts away, you will find that I alone remain unshaken. When you stand amid ashes, you will realize you have lost many things, but not me. And then you will understand I am the reward, not what I give. You may feel alone in the fire, but you are not. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace, there is always a fourth walking beside you. The flames burned their ropes, but not their hair. So it is with you. My fire burns the chains, not the child. It frees, it never imprisons. And when you step out of the furnace, you will see that what was lost was never meant to stay. Only what bound you has burned away. Sometimes I use fire to teach you to discern the true from the false. When life shakes, the superficial falls. Pretended faith, shallow devotion, conditional worship, all will be refined. But what is true will stand. True love endures, true faith deepens. And then you will no longer love me for what I do, but for who I am. That my beloved is the victory of the fire, not what it takes from you, but what it leaves behind, a faith purified, a love unshakable, a heart that mirrors mine. I did not promise that you would avoid the fire, but I promised that the fire would not overcome you, as I spoke in Isaiah 4:3-2. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. Keep that word in your heart. Know this, there is no heat my grace cannot soothe, no trial I am not within. Every flame is measured, it cannot go beyond my command. There is one thing fire always does, it makes the soul radiant. After every season of testing, you will realize you are no longer the same. Not as fragile, not as fearful, but deeper, kinder, and closer to me. That is the beauty of a soul refined by holy fire, not polished to impress, but glowing like a gem. Not flawless, but true. Not radiant for display, but luminous, because it reflects the glory of its maker. I know there are moments you wish to escape the fire quickly, but my child, if I extinguish it too soon, the gold will not be pure. If I draw you out too early, your strength will not endure. Do not pray for the fire to end. Pray to stand firm until it finishes its work. For when the fire's work is complete, your soul will become light, clear, and bright enough that a single spark of my presence will set you ablaze for a lifetime. Remember this, the fire I allow you to endure today will one day light the path for others. The day will come when you meet someone walking through what you once faced, and you will know what to say, not from theory, but from scars that have healed into wisdom. You will become living proof that it is possible to survive the fire and come out shining. Your fire will become their light. Do not let bitterness grow in the flames. Bitterness turns coals to ash, but gratitude turns ashes into fertile ground. If you learn to give thanks inside the furnace, you will see the miracle. The fire will not destroy, but refine. The pain will not kill, but enlarge. And from the ashes I will cause white lilies of faith to bloom again. I am forging you to become a torch, not a candle. A candle burns only in calm. A torch burns amid the wind. A candle fears the dark. A torch is made for it. You will no longer be one who needs shelter, but one who lights the way. And that light does not come from your strength, but from the fire I have kindled in your heart, a flame that no darkness can extinguish. Do not fear the fire, let it complete its purpose. Let me, the one who walks in the fire, finish my work within you. Then you will understand, no trial is wasted, no pain meaningless. Everything is used by my hand to write the story of a soul that has walked through fire and emerged fearless, only luminous. My beloved, my fire is not only to test, but to transform. If testing reveals essence, transformation gives it new form. I do not refine you just to restore you to what you were. I recreate you so that from the ashes you emerge entirely new, not a seed lying dormant, but a rooted tree bearing fruit in my light. Every person I love must pass through a season of fire, for that is how I imprint my grace upon them. As steel must be heated before it becomes a sword, so your soul must enter the creative fire of heaven to bear my image. That fire is both my hand and my instrument. It does not come to take away, but to awaken what I placed in you long ago, the treasure buried beneath time, fear, and pain. You once asked, "Why did you allow me to lose so much?" But if you could see through heaven's eyes, you would know I did not take. I exchanged. I took away hardness to give you compassion. I took away pride to give you humility. I took away the temporary to give you the eternal. When I strip away what made you proud, I am freeing you from what could destroy you. When I remove your props, I invite you to walk by faith. When you are bare, I clothe you with the robe of glory I tailored for you. My fire is unlike the fire of the world. It does not burn to ruin, it burns to rebirth. Just as land after wildfire becomes richer soil, your soul after suffering becomes deeper fertile for life. Some flowers bloom only after winter's frost. Likewise, some gifts awaken only after seasons of pain. For in suffering the soul is dug deep, and only in the depths can living water spring forth. Do you remember Joseph? He was thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, falsely imprisoned. Yet the darkness of that dungeon was the forge where I taught him how to lead, to listen, to wait. When his time came, he was not just freed, he was promoted into purpose. If I had brought him to the throne before the prison, the throne would have destroyed him. But because he passed through the fire, the throne became not his reward, but his assignment. My child, I am doing the same in you. When I allow loss, it is not to punish, but to enlarge your capacity for greater blessing. You cannot hold new oil in an old vessel. So I break, but I also mend. And when I mend, I seal your cracks with gold. The repaired vessel shines brighter than before. Those golden lines are not flaws. They are stories of grace, the places where my light escapes. Do not fear weakness. It is in weakness that my strength is revealed. Like the grain of wheat that must break open to sprout, your heart must soften for new life to rise. Do not protect yourself from pain, for when you avoid pain, you also avoid miracles. I did not promise you would not be wounded. I promised that every wound would carry purpose. Each scar is a doorway for me to enter deeper, to touch the places you never let anyone reach. Remember the olive. To make anointing oil, the fruit must be crushed. Yet in the crushing, the purest essence flows. It is not wholeness, but surrender that releases fragrance. Likewise, the seasons that press you hardest are the seasons where I draw out the oil of faith. When you cry, "I can't take it anymore," I whisper, "You are about to be anointed." In every season of fire, I am there. When you hurt, I hurt. When you weep, your tears mingle with mine. I do not stand at a distance, I kneel beside you, holding you in the flames so that they burn only the ropes, not your spirit. When you are weak, I am strong. When you fall, I lift. When you collapse, I whisper, "It's not over yet, my child." I am shaping in you a holy endurance, not strength to resist the world, but strength to bring light into it. The world does not need more hardened hearts. It needs souls who have walked through fire and still know how to love, forgive, and rise without bitterness. That is true victory, and only fire can produce it. Do not forget, life still rises from ashes. I am the God of resurrection, the one who turns tombs into gardens, tears into rivers, and pain into testimony. Nothing in my hands is wasted. The days you thought were lost were the days I was preparing new soil. Every tear watered the field of tomorrow. And one day you will reap not just for yourself, but for many others. When I transform you, I also transform your sight. You will stop asking why and begin saying thank you. You will stop praying, make it stop, and begin saying, make it complete. Because you will know nothing I allow is without purpose. And when you look back, you will see that every scar has been arranged into the shape of my heart. You may not see it all yet, but trust this, my child. The fire that burns today will become the light that guides others tomorrow. You will emerge carrying not the scent of smoke, but the fragrance of oil, not burn marks, but glory marks, not wounds, but the wisdom of healing. For I have not only brought you through the fire, I have made you a bearer of it, the flame of hope, of faith, of love that will never be extinguished. And I speak to you now, my child, let me finish the work I began. Do not fear the fire around you. It is not the end, It is the beginning of a new chapter. I am forging you into light for a dim world, a living testimony that though the night grows deep, the divine fire still burns, and all who abide in me will not be consumed, but will shine within it. So let the fire become your song. Sing even while ashes still cling. Believe even when dawn has not yet broken. For the day will come when you will stand in the light and say, "That very fire made me who I am, purified, grounded, and closer to Him than ever before." My beloved child, when the fire of testing and transformation has finished its work, what remains is not ashes, but the fire of resurrection, a fire that does not burn but illuminates, that does not wound but warms, that does not come to test but to ignite. This is the fire I give to those who have gone the full distance, to the souls who have been refined and have allowed me to reinscribe my image upon them. Now you are no longer one who fears the fire. You are one who carries it, one who walks in the radiance of my light. Resurrection fire is not merely a reward after suffering. It is the new nature born out of suffering. When you walked through the darkness, I did not only pull you out, I turned that very darkness into light within you. Like embers that after burning leave behind a quiet but enduring glow, so your soul after the fire will carry within it a hidden light enough to guide others. You will notice that the very things that once made you fall will become the places where you are strongest. Your scars will no longer shame you. They will become the marks of victory, witnesses of my power in your life. You will find yourself listening more, loving more, seeing people through eyes of mercy, because you yourself have walked through the valleys they are now in. Resurrection fire does not make you a hero. It makes you a bearer of heaven's compassion. This is the moment of rebirth, not of the body, but of the soul. Like Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days when I called his name, he came out of the tomb. In the same way, I am calling your name. The dreams you buried, the parts of you that you thought had died, the longings you assumed were forgotten, all of these are being summoned to life. When I say come out, nothing can keep you in the shadows. Every chain will fall, every grave will open, and your soul will stand in the light of my resurrection. Resurrection does not always happen in a single day. It is a holy process. Sometimes I let you feel life returning little by little, like dawn rising after a long night. Bit by bit, breath by breath, you begin to feel joy again, peace again, hope again. Then one day you realize you have not just survived, you have risen stronger and fresher than ever. And you understand, death never has the final word, because in me, every ending is the beginning of a new season. You will begin to see the world with different eyes, eyes that have seen light through ashes. You will no longer judge quickly because you know everyone is fighting a battle no one else sees. You will no longer fear loss because you have tasted that what is surrendered in me becomes seed for the harvest to come. You will no longer panic at darkness because you know my light lives in you. I speak, behold, I make all things new, not only your circumstances but you, your mind renewed, your heart softened, your soul enlarged. You will find your heart no longer crowded with only your own concerns, but opened wide for the pain of others. My love will flow through you, and will not let you stand still when you see suffering. You will become one who carries resurrection light into dark places, not with loud speech, but with a presence soaked in peace. The fire of resurrection is the mark of those chosen to shine in the night. The world needs this light. The light that does not come from talent or intellect, but from a soul once broken and mended by grace. You will not need to prove yourself, for true light does not need to introduce itself, it only needs to shine. Wherever you go, darkness will recede. When you speak, peace will spread. When you pray, the atmosphere will shift. Not because you tried harder, but because I live with you. My child, here is the mystery. The resurrection fire is the fire of my all-powerful love. It is not a wild blaze, but a steady, unquenchable flame. It makes you patient, gentle, and yet unshakably strong. That fire is my Holy Spirit dwelling in you, lighting every shadow, warming every cold place, renewing every dry corner of your soul. I do not only want you to be a witness of miracles, I want you to become a miracle. When people see you, someone who went through fire yet still shines, who experienced breaking yet still loves, who tasted sorrow yet still carries peace, they will know there is a living God. You are the living testimony of my kindness. Every step you take, every word you speak, every tear you wipe from another's face is a sign of the kingdom of light I am establishing on the earth. From now on, you will no longer only pray, "Lord, save me," but "Lord, send me." You will no longer ask, "Why did this happen?" but use this to glorify you. That is true maturity, when you stop asking me to change the situation and let me change you in the situation. Then you are no longer just the rescued one, you are the one with a commission. And I will cause that commission to burn in you like a flame that cannot be put out, because it does not come from the flesh but from eternity. So rise and shine, for your light has come. Darkness no longer has the right to hold you. The old has passed, the new has begun. Step out of the ashes, wipe your tears, and walk into the dawn. On your forehead is the seal of resurrection fire, the light that makes the night admit its limits. Wherever you go, my love will make a way. You will speak, and your words will plant seeds of life. You will touch, and I myself will heal through your hands. Resurrection fire is not for a moment, but for a lifetime. Feed it with prayer, with gratitude, with a life rooted in love. Do not let the world quench it with disappointment or weariness. When you feel the fire fade, come close to me. I will breathe on it again. When you feel the light dim, remember it never came from you, it flows from me. Return to the source, and you will shine again. And as you go carry this fire, let it light your home, your workplace, your city, and even the places where my name has not yet been spoken. Not only through sermons, but through a presence saturated with love. You are the lamp in the hand of the Eternal One, lit not to shine for yourself, but to lead many souls back to the Father. My child, when the fire in you has been lit, that is when my wind begins to blow. Fire without wind fades, but fire with wind becomes a spreading flame. My holy wind, my spirit is blowing over your soul, not merely to move you, but to send you. You have been raised to life, not to stand still, but to become a witness of the light. Now I call you out of what is familiar to become the bearer of heaven's breath in the earth. The call of the wind is not loud, but it is strong. My spirit does not only come like a storm. Sometimes he is the gentle breeze that stirs your heart and points you in a new direction. You do not need to understand everything, you only need to be sensitive to the breath. When I speak, do not delay. When I shift, do not fear. For wherever my wind blows, there is life, there are miracles, there is a plan unfolding. As Abraham heard my voice and left his homeland, so you are invited to leave your place of safety. Sending never begins with comfort, but with trust. You do not need to know the destination, only the one leading you. I do not promise that you will know it all, but I promise you will never walk alone. My wind will go with you, sustain you, guide you, and open the way. My beloved child, do not think that to be sent you must first be perfect. I do not wait for readiness to call. I call so that you may become ready. Those I have sent were never confident in themselves. Moses said he could not speak. Jeremiah said he was too young. Jonah ran away. Yet I used them not because they were strong, but because they learned to yield. And when they yielded, my wind accomplished what no human could imagine. So it is with you, my beloved. I do not need your ability. I need your availability. In my hands, a surrendered heart is mightier than 1,000 warriors. When you go, I will give your words power to stir hearts. When you reach out, my power will flow through you. When you pray, my wind will move around you like unseen waves. You do not need to strive to make miracles happen. Only believe that the wind is already working through you. My spirit wind does not blow at random. It moves where hearts are open. So keep your heart tender, child. Do not let fear or calculation harden it. When your heart closes, the wind cannot enter, but when you open even by a small crack, I will rush in like a breath that revives the soul. As I breathed into Adam, and he became a living being, so I am breathing into you, that you may live not by fleshly air, but by the breath of heaven. Do you remember the sound of wind in the book of Acts? When I poured out my spirit upon the disciples, a mighty wind filled the house and tongues of fire rested on each of them. From that day they were no longer the fearful ones hiding behind doors, but the messengers of my power. In one day thousands of hearts were renewed. It was not their skill that changed the world, but the union of my fire and my wind within them. Now I desire to do the same through you. When the wind begins to blow, do not cling to what is old. Do not hold on to what once felt safe. The wind does not come to preserve, it comes to transform. If you cling to the past, you will miss the future. If you resist change, you will miss what I am renewing. Every time the wind stirs, it is the sign that I am moving. You may feel the wind carrying you to unfamiliar places among people you do not know, doing things you never thought you could. Yet in those very places you will encounter me in new ways. For I am not confined to one space, one role, or one season. I am the wind, free but full of purpose. And when you allow yourself to be led, you will learn the sacred art of living in the divine flow. Do not be troubled when others do not understand your path. The wind cannot be seen, but its effects are undeniable. They will not see the wind filling your sails, but they will see your vessel move. They may doubt, but I know the course you are on. Listen to the wind, and you will reach the destination not by maps, but by direction. My child, my wind does not only blow outward, it blows within. It stirs the deep places of your soul you thought had died. It breathes life into dreams I planted long ago. You may think it's too late, but I say, it is never too late while my wind still blows. I can do in a day what you believed would take a lifetime. I can rebuild what you thought would never live again. Only believe. Only open your heart to the wind. When you follow the sound of the wind, you will see something wondrous. You are no longer walking for yourself, but for others. My wind will carry you to places that need light, to hearts that need to hear they are still loved. You will never fully know how far your reach extends, for the wind will carry your seeds beyond your sight. But one day in eternity you will behold vast fields of harvest, all grown from the simple prayers you once whispered in faith. I have called you not merely to breathe, but to become breath for others. When you pray for them, my wind carries your words into their despair. When you worship, my wind turns your song into waves of hope. When you forgive, my wind disperses hatred. Everything you do in love becomes charged with the power of the Spirit. Therefore, never think you are small, for in my wind even the smallest act becomes magnified by eternal power. My wind does not blow once and stop. It moves throughout your life. Each season of wind carries a new direction, a new lesson, a new grace. When the wind shifts, do not fear, raise your sails. Do not try to keep your vessel anchored, for it was made to travel. So were you not created for stillness, but to move in the living rhythm of my spirit. Now, my child, I breathe upon you again. Inhale deeply. This is the breath of heaven. Step forward, this is your time of sending. Speak your words now, carry heaven's echo. And remember, wherever you go, my wind goes before you. Wherever you stand, my wind surrounds you. Wherever you falter, my wind will lift you up. Beloved, when my holy wind has passed through your soul, do not merely be renewed, live in that breath daily. The wind of the Spirit is not just a fleeting moment of emotion in prayer. It is the rhythm of life into which you are now invited. From this day onward, every step, every choice, every word can become the whisper of heaven if you listen and follow the movement of my breath. I know you have grown accustomed to control, to planning, understanding, managing outcomes. But heaven's breath does not follow those rules. It does not ask you to comprehend. It invites you to trust. Imagine, my child, that you are the kite in my hands. It does not fly by its own effort. It simply yields to the wind. When the wind is strong, it soars. When it is gentle, it glides. So too, when you live in my breath, you will cease striving to fly by your own strength. I will be the wind that lifts you above the ground of worry and limitation. Stay in the flow, my beloved. Let the wind move you where I choose. For as long as my breath fills you, you will never fall, you will rise. My beloved child, do not fear when you no longer feel me as clearly as before. There are times when the wind roars and times when it only whispers softly, yet I am in both. Even when you walk through still air, it does not mean the atmosphere has vanished. It still surrounds you, supports you, and allows you to breathe. So it is with the breath of heaven. When silent, it is still sustaining the life of your soul. To walk in the breath of heaven, you must learn the art of listening. My spirit does not shout, he whispers. His voice does not command, it invites. He speaks through a quiet stirring, a moment of peace. In the midst of noise, a sudden stillness in your thoughts. When you learn to pause and listen, you will discover that heaven has always been speaking. You were simply too hurried to hear. Slow down, child. Do not run with the frantic rhythm of the world, for my wind does not blow according to its pace. It has its own rhythm, the rhythm of grace, of life, of the season I am weaving within you. When you move in that rhythm, you will stop worrying about keeping up, for you will know that in heaven's timing, everything is completed perfectly. As Moses only needed to lift his staff at the appointed moment, and the sea parted, as Peter needed only to cast his net at my word, and it overflowed, so when you move in my rhythm, you will not waste energy striving. You will simply obey at the right time. To walk in the breath of heaven is not to live by feelings, but by constant connection. You do not need to feel something supernatural at every moment. You need only to be aware that I am there in the simplest acts of your day. When you wash the dishes, when you work, when you comfort someone in pain, each can become an act of worship if you do it knowing that I am breathing through you. The breath of heaven always carries life, but you can only sustain it when you refuse to let the air of the world pollute your spirit. When your heart fills with fear, envy, or bitterness, the air becomes heavy within you. That is the sign that your inner atmosphere needs cleansing. Spend time in stillness with me. Breathe deeply in my presence, and let me blow away every mist until your soul becomes as clear as morning light. You ask, how will I know that I am walking in the breath of heaven? I say to you, when you feel peace, even before the answer comes, when you know how to pause instead of panic, when you choose forgiveness over reaction, then you are moving in my rhythm. Do not measure my presence by emotion, but by the fruit of the Spirit. If you find within you love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, these are the signs that you are walking in heaven's breath. The breath of heaven will not lead you to spotlighted places, but to sacred depths. It will not push you into crowds, but draw you into the quiet, the secret place where I whisper things no one else can hear. There I do not give you tasks, I give you my heartbeat. When you feel it, you will stop asking, what should I do? And begin to ask, whom are you loving today? Let me love you. Never despise the small steps. The breath of heaven does not always bring great acts as the world defines them. Sometimes it only moves you to smile at a stranger, to send a message of comfort, or to pause and pray for someone you've never met. Every small act guided by my Spirit holds eternal weight. Sometimes walking in the breath of heaven means waiting. Waiting is not standing still, it is staying in rhythm with me. As a musician cannot play before the conductor's cue, neither can you move ahead of heaven's time. Every action outside my timing brings unnecessary burden. But when you walk in step with me, you will see wonder doors opening together, details aligning creation itself, cooperating with your path, for you are moving in the same breath as heaven. My child, there will be times when my wind leads you where others dare not go, into places of pain, poverty, and brokenness. Do not be surprised. I send you there not to make you suffer, but to breathe life into what has withered. As I sent Ezekiel into the valley of dry bones, and when he spoke my words, the four winds blew, and the bones rose into a great army, so shall you see it. I will use your prayers, your tears, your compassion to awaken life in souls that thought themselves dead. When you live in the rhythm of my spirit, you will discover a holy mystery. All limits fade away. Space cannot confine you, time cannot delay you, circumstances cannot bind you, for the spirit within you transcends them all. You may be in a small room, but your prayers can shake nations. You may whisper, but the echo of your soul can move heaven. Remain humble in this current of wind. Remember, the power is not yours but mine. You are the vessel. I am the breath. When you stay humble, the wind keeps blowing. When pride rises, it stops. So always return to the source. Live with gratitude, not because you earned it, but because you were chosen to carry my breath. Walk in that breath daily. Do not divide the sacred and the ordinary, for with me every place you step can become holy ground. When you live in the rhythm of my spirit, every moment becomes a prayer, and every breath becomes praise. And I say to you, go with the wind, do not resist it. Let me lead you where I will not where you plan. For you were not merely born of the earth, you were made to live by the breath of heaven. My beloved, now that you have learned to walk in heaven's breath, I invite you to fly, to soar on the wings of the Spirit, where obedience becomes freedom, and that freedom is not careless release, but perfect harmony with the Father's will. True freedom is not doing whatever you wish, but becoming one with what heaven is doing. When you obey not out of fear, but out of love, when you follow not from duty, but from trust, then you have touched the freedom of the saints, the glory of unity with me. Do you remember the eagle's child? They do not fear the storm, for they know the storm is what lifts them higher. Their wings do not flap wildly in panic, they stretch wide to receive the wind. So you too need not fight against the winds of trial, learn to ride them. For when the Spirit's wind blows, the souls who trust do not get swept away, they rise. I did not call you to live like a bird caged in fear, but to fly in the sky of grace and faith. Obedience is not a chain, it is a wing. When you learn to say yes to me, you are giving yourself the right to fly. Each time you choose faith amid confusion, you gain a wider wingspan. Each time you choose forgiveness amid hurt, you open another layer of heaven. And each time you choose love amid rejection, you soar closer to the throne. Fly, my child, not by your own strength, but by my breath. For the wind that lifts you is the same Spirit that first hovered over creation, and He is still creating, still renewing, still breathing through you. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you feel you cannot take flight, when fear drags you down, when memories hold you back, when the wounds of the past whisper that you no longer have the strength to rise. But remember this, my child, wings were never made to stay still. They were created to meet the wind. Even if you have fallen, even if you have crashed before, do not be afraid. I am still here beneath your wings, lifting you through each trembling attempt to fly. I do not demand that you soar high at once. I teach you to flap gently, patiently, like a young bird learning to trust the current. And even when you fall, I catch you. Every descent is not failure, but a lesson about direction. And every time you lift your wings again, you grow stronger. Do not measure the worth of your journey by how high you've reached, but by how deeply you have learned to trust the wings I gave you. Do not let sin or the past make you forget what you were born for. You were never destined to crawl through the dust of shame. You were created to glide through the air of grace. When you look at your wings and see their tears and scars, remember the wings that have faced the fiercest storms are the ones that soar the highest. Every mark is proof that you endured. My child, when you fly in the freedom of obedience, you will discover that the sky has no borders. The world may say you are limited by age, circumstance, talent, or past mistakes. But I say to you, these things are clouds, not walls. You were not made to be confined, but to rise above limits, not by your strength, but by my wind. The wings of the Spirit are not made of feathers, but of faith and love. Faith lets you fly when you cannot see the destination. Love keeps you flying when the road is long. When these two unite, no storm can bring you down. For when the storm rises, those who belong to me rise closer to the light. There will be times when I call you to fly to uncharted places, barren lands, where my light longs to shine. Do not ask why me. For you, the one who has walked through fire, learned to move with the wind, and recognized my whisper, is the perfect vessel for my work. No one else can fulfill your part, for the imprint I placed in you is unique. Remember, flying does not mean escaping the earth. The eagle does not forget the ground. It simply views it from a higher perspective. In the same way, I do not call you to abandon humanity, but to see it through heaven's eyes. When you soar, you will see clearly that those who hurt you were in truth wounded souls hiding their pain. In that moment, you will not wish for vengeance, but will pray for them. That is how you will know you have truly flown, not only with wings, but with the soul. And as you fly, I will reveal to you new skies, blessings you have not yet seen, abilities you never believed you had. You will hear my voice in the wind saying, "Look there, that is where I want you to go. Fly a little farther, for beyond the clouds is my Sunday." Whenever you grow weary, remember I am the wind beneath you. Whenever you feel weak, remember I am the strength in your wings. True freedom is not found in living without boundaries, but in living fully within my will. For my will is not a cage, it is the sky itself. When you live in it, you will find everything harmonizing into one divine song: wind, fire, light, even darkness, all working together in my purpose. You will understand that nothing in your life has been random. Every wing beat, every headwind, every silence has been part of heaven's dance. Fly without worrying about what others think. The eagle does not ask the sparrows for permission to fly high, it simply flies. For it knows its nature is made for the sky. So are you. You do not need permission to become what I destined you to be. Do not let voices of doubt, criticism, or smallness pull you down. Fly, my child, for heaven has called your name. And when you fly, remember to look back and lift others. The mother eagle teaches her young to fly by pushing them from the nest, yet she always stays near to catch them. So will you, guiding those trembling at the edge of faith to trust their wings. For wings are not given to fly alone, but to inspire others to discover that they too were made to rise. When you finally understand the freedom of obedience, you will no longer try to keep your faith, for faith will have become your breath. You will no longer learn to love, for love will have become your nature. You will no longer fear loss, for you will know that in me you have everything. And then you will fly not in effort, not in fear, but in perfect ease as a soul joined to the breath of its Creator. I say to you, your wings were not made to break, but to expand. Do not fold them because you fear the wind. Unfold them, for that wind is me. Remember, true freedom is not the absence of ties, but the embrace of love's bond. When love is your wind, you will never fall. So rise, my child. Fly not to prove, but to glorify. Fly not to escape, but to carry light. Fly not by might, but by spirit. For I have given you the wings of the holy wind, and the heavens are waiting for you to take flight. My beloved, now I will lead you into the inner kingdom. the realm where every true battle is fought and every eternal victory is born. This kingdom is not of the material world. It has no castle, no throne, no borders. It lies within your soul where I dwell. When you learn to rule within nothing, outside can rule over you. You once thought dominion meant control, to command, to possess, to hold authority over others. But in my kingdom, dominion begins not with power, but with mastery of the heart. You cannot govern anything if you cannot first govern yourself. One who has not learned to guide their thoughts, emotions, and reactions will always be driven by the storms around them. So I am teaching you the art of soul leadership, not by force, but through love and peace. I know there are days when your heart feels like a battlefield between faith and fear, hope and doubt, surrender and self. But my child, the inner kingdom is not built in calm, it is forged in conflict. The peace you carry today is not the absence of storms, but the fruit of deep surrender. When you let me reign, the storms may still come, but they will no longer have power to topple you. Look back over your seasons. Every time you chose forgiveness, you expanded the borders of your kingdom. Every time you chose silence over argument, you strengthened the walls of peace. Every time you believed amidst confusion, you established my throne within your heart. And when you rule yourself, I will entrust you with the authority to influence the world around you. I have said the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 1:7-1. That means my power does not flow from the outside in, but from the union between your spirit and mine. When you live in that connection, you will no longer be subdued by circumstances. Others may see the same storm, yet you will stand within it as one who knows the secret of the wind. For within you is a kingdom the storm cannot touch, where I am king, and peace is the law. I know you have grown weary of trying to keep your peace in a noisy world. But peace is not something you must protect. It is something I protect within you. It is not found by fleeing the noise, but by hearing my voice within it. When you learn to pause in the whirlwind, to close your eyes and listen for my breath, you will realize that silence is not something outside you. It is already alive within you. My beloved child, let me reign in your heart as the King of Peace. Do not leave that throne empty for anxiety to occupy. Each morning, when you open your eyes, present that throne to me and say, Lord, today I give you the rulership of my heart. When you do that, fear will lose its seat, for the enemy cannot invade a place already occupied by the King of Light. Child, to rule by love does not mean to be weak. True love is heaven's strength. It enables you to overcome enemies without striking, to change hearts without forcing. The power of love is not in loud words, but in the steadfastness of the heart. When people insult you, love does not react, it blesses. When people forget what you've done, love keeps giving. And when everything seems meaningless, love still believes. That is how you rule as I rule. I do not reign by the sword, but by the cross. Not by domination, but by sacrifice. When you love where no one else can love, when you forgive where no one thinks of forgiving, when you pray for the one who hurt you, that is the moment you are reigning in the true kingdom. Guard your mind, for it is the gate of the kingdom. Do not let negative thoughts, people's careless words, or the shadows of the past enter. Every time you let them in, they sow disorder in the city within. But when you let my word rule your thoughts, you will see high walls of peace rise around you. Use faith as the watchman, hope as the gate, and love as the ever-burning fire in the palace of your soul. When you learn to live in peace, you will discover the power of stillness. The world exalts speech, but heaven honors spirit-filled silence. In silence I speak, in stillness I act. The souls who know how to be still before me are the ones who can shake heaven and earth when they speak, because they do not speak from emotion, but from inner authority. When you let peace be king, you will no longer be dragged by every small wave of life. You will become like a clear lake, though the wind blows the surface. only ripples gently. Those who come near you will sense heaven's calm and will find me in your eyes. That is the true power of the inner kingdom. It does not need announcements, yet people recognize it. I have given you the crown of peace and the scepter of love. Do not let them be forgotten. When you pray, pray as one who has authority. When you speak, speak with the confidence of a prince belonging to his father. You are not a beggar of faith, but an heir of the heavenly kingdom. Do not live like a slave to circumstances, for I have already placed the keys of the kingdom in your hand. But remember, power is only real when you bow before me. The greatest king in my kingdom is the one who bows the lowest. It is in humility that you receive authority. It is when you submit at my feet that you stand firm before every other power. This is the holy paradox. When you humble yourself, you are lifted up. When you surrender, you are set free. When you love, you win. My beloved, I am building my kingdom in you day by day. Every time you choose what is good, another stone is laid. Every time you choose love over resentment, a wall is raised. And when you believe in the midst of trial, the throne is set. One day that kingdom will not only be in you, but will flow out from you, touching your family, your community, and the world around you. For this is what I have ordained: from peaceful souls I will form a world of light. Now that I have taught you about the inner kingdom, it is time for you to learn to sit on the throne of peace and govern your own mind. For that is the decisive battlefield between light and darkness. Your body may be strong, your spirit may burn, but if your mind is not disciplined, you will always be carried away by winds of worry, doubt, and the voices of the world. That is why I say, let my peace rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:1-5. Peace is not a feeling. It is the king in the spiritual realm ruling over every thought, emotion, and reaction. When peace rules, your mind becomes like a still lake. It reflects heaven clearly. But when fear sits on the throne, the water of your heart becomes murky, and you can no longer see truth. So, child, the greatest work in your walk with me is not changing circumstances, but keeping the throne of peace from being seized. My child, your mind is like a city with gates. Every thought is a visitor knocking. Some carry light, others bring darkness. You cannot stop every knock, but you can choose who gets in. Do not let every thought have a room in you. Learn to say no to lies, to haunting memories, to fears that do not come from me. Each time you refuse entry to a negative thought, you are protecting the throne of peace from the enemy. I know there are nights when your mind will not rest, thoughts coming like wave after wave about the future, about your mistakes, about those you love but cannot fix. But remember, child, waves cannot sink the boat unless the water gets inside. Do not let worry take residence in your heart. When you feel you are sinking, call to me, as Peter did on the lake. I do not promise to stop the wind immediately, but I do promise to take your hand. My peace does not depend on circumstances, for it does not come from this world. People look for peace in conditions: when work is stable, when the family is in harmony, when everything is under control. But true peace needs no conditions. It is the posture of a soul fully surrendered. When you truly believe that I am in control of all things, you no longer need to understand everything to rest. Faith is the place where you set the throne of peace. Do not fight every negative thought with your own strength. Doing so only feeds it. When you try to push fear away, you often give it more power. Instead, replace fear with truth. Whenever anxious thoughts rise, declare my word over them. When you say, I know whom I have believed, or you are my refuge, fear dissolves like mist before the light. Do not argue with darkness, just turn on the light. There will be days when your mind feels like a never-ending war. But remember, the enemy is not truly stronger than you, he is just louder. He sows doubt by noise, but I speak in a gentle whisper. When you learn to be quiet, you will hear me more clearly. That is why I lead you into seasons of stillness, so your mind stops shouting and can finally distinguish the true voice among many false ones. Let peace become the background music of your soul. The throne of peace cannot be shaken by people's opinions. When others judge you, remember they see only a part, but I see the whole picture. When you are misunderstood, do not rush to defend yourself. Truth always defends itself. Peace will be your armor. It will keep you from reacting, from proving, from arguing. Those who walk in peace are not weak. They simply do not need to win with volume because they have already won in silence. Focus your mind on what is true, noble, pure, praiseworthy, and excellent. Philippians 4:8. Do not feed your mind with the trash of the world and then wonder why your peace is gone. The mind is like soil, it produces according to what is sown. If you sow my word daily, you will reap rest. But if you let news, fear, and comparison fill you, you will reap restlessness. So choose carefully what you allow in. Peace does not mean there are no other voices, it means you choose the right voice. When many voices are pulling at you, pause and ask, does this voice bring peace or pressure? My voice is never frantic, never threatening, never rushing you. It is always gentle, steady, full of love. When you learn to discern, you will no longer be led by emotion, but will walk in the clarity of my spirit. Child, the throne of peace is not kept by effort, but by faith and presence. Every day, set aside time to sit before me, not to ask, not to speak, but simply to be, to breathe with me. When you sit in my presence, your mind is washed like a river cleansing dust. Worries fade, and you begin to feel a stillness that does not come from trying, but from me being there. I want you to understand peace is a source of power. When your mind is at peace, your words carry authority. When your soul is calm, every decision you make will be aligned. The one who moves in peace travels faster than the one who runs in panic. Peace lets you see the hidden path others miss. Peace lets you hear heaven in the noise of earth. So never underestimate the power of a quiet soul. My beloved child, when you let peace reign, you will see that the things you once feared to lose were never truly worth keeping. You will no longer feel the need to fight for your place, for nothing I have destined for you can be stolen from my hand. You will no longer crave revenge, for you will know my justice is more perfect than your anger. You will no longer strive to prove yourself, for I am your defender. That is the moment you truly reign, not by the sword, but by peace. This throne is not built for calm seasons alone. It is forged in the heart of storms. I am shaping you into one who can stand in thunder and still smile, who can sing while lightning flashes, who can hold the torch high while darkness surrounds. The world does not need more fearful hearts, it needs souls that know peace. My child, after you have learned to guard the throne of peace, I desire to lead you deeper into stillness, where peace is not merely serenity, but divine power. Peace is the foundation, stillness is the summit. In stillness I do not only speak to you, I dwell within you. Your soul becomes my sanctuary, and your breath becomes a hymn of presence. The world clings to noise because it fears to face itself. People fill their days with sound, with busyness, with endless conversation, all to avoid hearing the echo within. But I say to you, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness is not the absence of sound, but the quiet of the soul in knowing. When you are truly still, you no longer need proof that I am near, for the stillness itself is proof. Stillness is the bridge between the soul and eternity. In that sacred space, you need not plead, nor search for answers, nor chase after signs, for you have entered the source itself. When you step into that space-time, stops worries, fade, and only one thing remains, you and I together, existing as one. Yet, my child, you cannot enter stillness while your heart is burdened. Wounds, worries, and the echoes of the past will try to intrude and keep you from me. That is why, before your soul can rest, you must learn to release. To let go does not mean to forget, it means to hand it over. Each time you whisper, "Lord, I cannot control this," you open the door for me to move. For wherever you stop holding tightly, I begin to act. Stillness is not escape, it is the weapon of saints. When you learn to be silent in me, you disarm the enemy, for he cannot manipulate a soul that does not react. Every temptation relies on the noise of emotion, fear, anger, pride. But in stillness those echoes fade, and he loses his grip. That is why I teach you to stay calm, even while the storm rages. In stillness you are not merely protected, you are empowered. You ask, "How can I hear you in stillness?" I say. When you stop searching for a voice, you will hear me. My voice is not a sound that enters your ears, but a movement that stirs your spirit. It may come as a sudden warmth, a wave of peace, a gentle light flowing through your heart. When you sit quietly and turn your attention toward me, you will feel my touch. That is not imagination, that is presence. Do not rush when you hear nothing. Silence does not mean I am absent. It means I am preparing the space for my voice to resonate. Just as an artist clears the room before a song, I clear your heart so that my sound can echo in rhythm. Be patient, for stillness is not achieved by effort, but by surrender. When your soul becomes truly still, you will witness a sacred wonder. You no longer pray for my presence, you live in it. Every breath becomes prayer. Every tear becomes worship. You need not speak to be heard, for your heart now beats in unison with heaven. In that moment, you yourself become the throne of my presence. My child, stillness is where I heal. Many wounds are not healed by words, but by silence. When you rest in me, the pains you thought would never fade begin to soften, not because you understand, but because you are held. Some things do not need explanation, they only need presence. Like a child in a father's arms, you do not need to know why you cry, you just need to know the Father is there, and that is enough. Know that stillness is not distance, it is intimacy. In the noise you hear about me, in stillness you encounter me. When you begin to love the quiet, you are learning to love presence more than emotion. Feelings change, but presence is eternal. There will be seasons when I draw you into stillness, not to punish, but to prepare. Before I entrust great things, I lead you through quiet places. Noise weakens faith, but stillness strengthens the inner man. In silence you learn to believe without seeing, to wait without despair, to love without demand. And when you emerge, your words will carry heaven's weight, not because of knowledge, but because of communion. The world may mock your silence, but I see its purpose. You are listening to the source of all words. While others seek strength in action, you draw it from stillness. While others search for answers through logic, you find them through faith. And that is why you will stand firm on the day of fire, not because you understand all things, but because you know the one who lives in you. Each day withdraw into the inner room of your soul where no one else is, only you and I. There I will write in your heart truths not found in books. I will open doors of divine wisdom that no human mind can reach. I will teach you through light instead of letters, through breath instead of words. And when you live in stillness, you will carry it into the world. People will feel peace around you, not because you speak well, but because my presence in you will remind them of heaven. You will walk through chaos without losing your center. You will stand in crowds, yet remain unshaken. That is when you will have become a living throne, the meeting place of heaven and earth. I say to you, keep stillness as your treasure, for my throne is hidden within it. When you sit in me, I shake the unseen realms. When you are silent, I am speaking through you. When you stop moving, I am advancing my purpose. True power is not in the noise, but in the quiet of a soul that knows where it belongs. So do not fear the season of silence. Do not fear the absence of signs, words, or sounds. For when there is nothing left to hear, I am the voice. When there is nothing left to say, I am the word. And when you no longer know what to do, I am the way. My beloved child, You have reached the threshold of glory, the moment when everything I have sown in you through years of refining and silence is about to bloom. This is not merely a season of transition, but a divine fulfillment, when what was spiritual becomes visible, when what was decreed in heaven manifests on earth. This is the time I have been preparing you for, when I molded your soul through tears, trials, and the wordless nights of waiting. And now, my child, the sun of my promise rises over your path. Every word I have ever spoken to you was not for comfort, but for direction. My words are never wasted. Each carries a living seed destined to sprout at its appointed time. You may have thought I was silent, but I was guarding the seed within your heart. And now I say to you, the season of fruitfulness has come. The faith you sowed in drought will break the ground, and the fields of your life will burst into bloom. Look back, what you thought was lost was never wasted. In my plan, nothing surrendered to me is ever lost. Like Joseph, who was sold, betrayed, and imprisoned, yet within that very prison, I prepared him for the throne. So have I used your hidden years to prepare you for a royal destiny. Every wound, every tear, every time you chose to trust through the pain, has become the gold that crowns your glory. I have never wasted a single drop of your sorrow. Each tear watered the ground for this harvest of eternity. Understand, this glory is not a reward. It is the natural outcome of union. When you are one with me in thought, deed, and faith, the world will see my reflection in you. Glory is not a halo that surrounds you, but heaven shining through you. I will glorify myself through your life, not to exalt you, but to make myself known. When you walk in grace, others will see heaven in your steps. When you speak peace, they will hear my tone in your voice. When you touch the broken, they will feel my hand through yours. My divine plan will be fulfilled, not through distant wonders, but through my living presence within you, my beloved child. My glory is not a blinding light, but the radiance that dissolves darkness. It does not come to make you proud, but to humble you in awe. For the more clearly you see my power, the more deeply you will recognize your smallness, and that is when I can trust you with more. Now I am opening before you doors once shut. Opportunities will appear not by your strength, but by my grace. Forgotten prayers I have remembered. Dreams buried long ago are stirring again. Prepare your heart, for I desire not only to bless you, but to bless through you. This is the hour that calls for alertness. Do not let blessings arrive while your heart is still bound by fear or doubt. Like the blind man of Jericho, who cried out when I passed by, seize the moment of grace. For this is your kairos, the divine intersection of heaven and earth, not something to wait for passively, but to enter by faith. When I speak, everything moves. When you believe, doors open. When you act, my plan becomes visible. Do not fear missing the path, for I am holding your hand. Walk in obedience, and I will straighten every curve, turning coincidences into chains of miracles. The moment of glory is also the moment of separation. When light rises, shadows are exposed. As I lift you higher, the things not rooted in me will fall away. Do not grieve what leaves. It is not loss, it is purification. I am removing the lesser to make room for the greater. I am bringing you into a new dimension of manifestation, where you will not only believe in me, but see me move. You will watch prayers once whispered in the dark become visible beneath the light. You will experience my word alive, no longer ink on a page, but power in motion. Then you will understand every silent season was not absence, but preparation for this very hour. Do not confine me to your understanding. What I am about to do surpasses imagination. As I have declared in Ephesians 3:2-0, I am able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you ask or think, according to the power that works within you. That power is not distant. It is already stirring inside you now. This is the season when I will reveal my name through you. Those who once doubted will witness and confess there is a living God working in their life. But remember, True glory never magnifies you, it magnifies me. The more you bow in gratitude, the brighter your light will shine. As Moses descended from Mount Sinai, his face shone after being in my presence, and the people trembled at the glow. So will it be with you. When you dwell in me, you will shine effortlessly. That light is not meant to dazzle, but to guide, not to make you admired, but to draw others home. My beloved, this hour of glory is not an ending, but a beginning, the dawn of a greater mission. When heaven's design is fulfilled in you, I will open deeper realms of purpose, for I never call anyone to a destination to stop. I call them to carry light further. Prepare your soul, for I will use you as a channel of miracles, an instrument of mercy, a living testimony of my love in this world. You will be a sign of heaven on earth, a lamp that cannot be hidden, a bearer of good news in barren times. And through it all you will know that the glory belongs not to you, but to the one who lives within you. My child, as my plan unfolds in your life, understands this is not the end, but the beginning of a river of miracles. For miracles are not isolated moments. They are the continuous flow of faith that streams from a heart united with men. When you live in me, everything you do, everywhere you go, every word you speak, becomes a current that carries heaven's presence. Go therefore with peace in your heart and fire in your spirit, for the dawn of glory has come, and I, the Lord your God, am with you. My beloved child, miracles do not only happen in churches or holy gatherings, they happen in every breath of obedience. Each time you choose to love where others choose to hate, to hope where others surrender to forgive, where others seek revenge, that is when the miracle is at work. True miracles are never loud, for they are born from a quiet heart that dares to believe. Remember, miracles are not demands you make of me. They are the natural flow that springs from communion between us. When you stand in the river of union, every need is met not because you strive, but because I myself am flowing through you. Faith is not a tool to control heaven, but the open gate through which heaven pours itself into your life. Learn to live in this flow, without forcing, without striving, without hurry. Miracles do not come to the restless, but to the soul that knows how to rest in faith. When you stop fearing, when you stop calculating, when you whisper, "Lord, I surrender," the river begins to move. It needs no thunder or lightning, only a yielded heart. Remember the woman with the issue of blood. She did not need to grasp my hand, only the hem of my garment and power flowed. For my power is not limited by form, but released through connection. Likewise, your miracle will not be born from rituals, but from a heart that truly believes. The river of miracles flows most freely when you stop trying to direct it. Water grows muddy when stirred, but remains clear when it flows. Do not fear your inadequacy, for your weakness is the perfect channel for my strength. I do not need your perfection. I need your surrender. I am not searching for polished vessels, but for empty ones, for only the empty can be filled. When you admit I can't, but you can, that is when the river begins to overflow. Faith is not pretending to be strong. It is allowing yourself to be weak in my hands. Do not let the world define miracles for you. People look for signs outside, but you look within. Every time you rise after failure, that is a miracle. Every time you love while wounded, that is a miracle. Every time you forgive yourself, that is a miracle. Miracles are not only what I do for you, but what I do for you quietly, steadily, eternally. I know there are moments when you cry, "Lord, why hasn't anything changed?" But my child, the miracle is not always visible at the surface. It may be working beneath like an underground river, nourishing roots before the sprout breaks through. If you only watch the soil, you may think nothing is happening. But in the unseen, I am arranging, aligning, and preparing every detail. Faith is not a feeling, it is a position. Feelings shift like the wind, but faith stands like a rock. You do not need to feel faith to stand in it. When you say, "I still believe," while tears fall, you have defeated darkness. The enemy trembles not before those who talk loudly about faith, but before those who keep faith when they have nothing left to hold. The river of miracles flows strongest through gratitude. Thanksgiving widens the channel of your soul. When you give thanks for the small, you make room for the great. When you recognize grace in every detail, you step into the current. Do not wait until all is perfect to give thanks, for when you thank me in lack, I cause abundance to overflow. My child, I have placed within you a fountain of living water waiting to be released. As written in John 7:3-8, whoever believes in me, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. That river is not only to refresh you, but to revive others. The world is parched, and I am seeking vessels through which my waters can flow. You are that river. Do not let your heart become a stagnant pond. Let my love flow freely through you, touching the withered souls of this world. When you pray, do not only ask for rain, ask to become the cloud that carries it. When you receive blessings, do not hoard them, let them overflow to others. When you are healed, go and heal. When you are comforted, go and comfort yourself. This is how the river expands, not by collecting, but by giving. The greatest miracle is not when I do what you want, but when I transform your heart to align with what I want. Then your prayers are no longer to change circumstances, but to fulfill my will. And when my will is done, the miraculous becomes your way of life. I am inviting you into this river, not through knowledge, but surrender. Let me carry you. Do not fear the deep, for I am the riverbed beneath your feet. Do not fear the current, for I am the flow itself. You need not know where it leads. You only need to trust that you are within me. Miracles are not something you ask for once in a while, they are how you live. You will speak with grace, walk in peace, act in love, because you know that I live within you. My river will flow from you, healing dry lands, reviving weary hearts, and making all things new. Let your faith flow as naturally as breathing, and let every step you take become part of this sacred stream. And as you allow me to flow freely through your life, you will witness the most wondrous truth of all. I am not only performing miracles for you, you yourself have become my miracle in the world. My beloved, now that the river of faith within you is strong and our union is complete, my glory will be revealed through your life. This is the moment when the world will see what I have done in secret, how a soul once fragile now stands strong in the Spirit, how one once fallen now rises in the power of resurrection. My glory is not a light to be admired, but a light to illuminate. It does not come to exalt you, but to draw others to me. As my Son declared in Matthew 5:1-4, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. That light does not come from effort, but from indwelling. When I abide in you, you will shine as effortlessly as a lamp lit in the night. You have been refined by fire, strengthened through darkness, and taught silence in the storm. None of it was in vain. For now I proclaim, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 6:01. You are no longer one searching for light. You are the light. Light is never given to be hidden. A lamp is placed high to give light to many. That is your calling, to be a living testimony that heaven still moves on earth. I will use your story, your scars, your tears, your deliverance to bring hope to others. What once caused you pain will become the evidence of grace. You will not need many words, for your presence will speak. Others will sense the peace within you and wonder, what makes them different? And when you answer with love, they will realize it is not you but me in you. Your gentleness will be your sermon, your humility, your song, and your faithfulness, your miracle. But remember, true light shines brightest in darkness. Do not fear when I send you to dry places, to broken people, to unseen corners. I do not send you there to diminish you, but to display my glory where none believe light remains. Where there is pain, you will bring healing. Where there is despair, you will carry hope. Where there is doubt, you will stand as living proof that faith endures. You are not called to blend into the dark, but to pierce through it. Do not let the world tell you that light must be loud. True light does not seek attention, it transforms. When you love quietly, forgive silently, and remain steadfast without applause, that is when your light is guiding many homes. Shine, my beloved, not to be seen, but to reveal me. For the world does not need spectacle, it needs presence. And through you I will show them that heaven is near. My beloved child, that light within you is not merely the light of faith, it is the glory of my presence. I am opening in you a doorway between heaven and earth, that through you my kingdom may touch the world. When you pray, the atmosphere will shift. When you walk into a room, peace will follow. When you sing, weary souls will rise again. For you do not merely carry my name, you carry me. Guard your heart as this light expands, for even light can be dimmed by pride. Do not let self-glory intrude upon what I am doing through you. All glory belongs to me, and when you return it, I will multiply the light within you. True glory is not when you are seen, but when I am seen through you. I will open great doors before you. Some will not require you to knock, for I have already appointed hands to turn their handles. People will come to you not because of fame, but because of the peace they sense in your spirit. They will ask, "How do you stand so firm?" And you will answer, "Because my God is with me." That, my child, is when light becomes flame, when revelation turns into revival. I have not called you merely to shine, but to ignite. Set my fire wherever you go. Do not keep this flame for yourself, for light does not diminish when shared, it multiplies. When you bring my love, you are spreading light. When you intercede for others, you are lighting another lamp. When you strengthen the weak in faith, you are kindling new flames. And as those flames spread, the land will blaze with my glory. The glory revealed through you is not something that rests upon you, it flows through you. Like Moses, who was unaware that his face shone after being with me, you too will not need to strive to glow, for I am the light within you. I say to you, you are the torch I have lit for the night of the world. Fear not the wind, for it will only make your fire burn brighter. Fear not the darkness, for in it your light will be most radiant. Fear not solitude, for you are never alone. I am within you, and my angels surround you. My beloved child, every small act, every gentle word, every whispered prayer, they all move the unseen realm. Never think your quiet faithfulness goes unnoticed. Heaven records every breath of surrender. And when all is fulfilled, when you look back upon this journey, you will see that every trial, every tear, and every silent night was not wasted. They have all shaped you into a vessel through which heaven's light can shine without distortion. On that day, you will no longer say, "God is with me," but "God is in me, and through me the world knows him." And that my beloved is the revelation of glory, not a light to admire, but a light to spread. I declare to you, go and shine. Bring my light into every place you step, so that others may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:1-6. And as you live this way, you will understand the ultimate goal is not the miracle but the union, not success but love, not recognition but the revealing of me. Stand firm in this light, my child. For I am with you, I am within you, and I will shine through you now and forevermore. Thank you for listening to today's message. If this word has touched your spirit, subscribe and turn on notifications, so together we may continue to receive the living word, grow in steadfast faith, and walk daily in the boundless love of God. Amen.